Hey guys, Lindsay here, and today I want to take a look at graphing the equation of a line, but this time we're going to use the slope and the y-intercept. And the reason that I have this formula written here, y equals mx plus b, maybe you've heard of it before, maybe you haven't, but these values represent something. So when I have a line in this format, and this one actually is y equals 2x plus 3, the number sitting in front of the x, that m value, that's actually our slope. And then the number sitting here on the end, including the sign, that guy right there, is our y-intercept. I'll just write y-int so I don't have to write the whole thing. So in looking at this equation of this line right here, I can actually tell you right away that the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 3. We'll talk about graphing that in a second. If I look at this example that I have written here, 2y plus 3 equals 10, it's not in y equals mx plus b format like this one is. So I'm going to have to manipulate that a little bit. But let's start over here, and we'll come back to that guy in a second. So y equals 2x plus 3, which means my slope in this case, and we'll call it m, is 2, the number sitting in front of the x. Now, if there was a sign, if there was a negative sign sitting in front of that, I would include it. But in this case, this is a positive 2. I can include that sign if I want to. But if you think of slope, and I know when I think of slope, I think rise over run. So slope often is 2 numbers. If you have a slope that's only 1 number, if you want, you can put that whole number over a 1. Now I have a rise value and a run value. And here we have this 3, which is our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is 3. So what that means is if I go over here to this graph and I want to graph this point, a y-intercept of 3, this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, and if I have a y-intercept of 3, I'm going to, on my y-axis, find 1, 2, 3. And again, graph paper would be awesome, but we don't have it, so we'll use what we've got. So that's about 3. There is a point on that line, y equals 2x plus 3. And the way that I'm going to get more than 1 point, because I can't draw a line when I just have 1 point, I need at least 2, is I'm going to now use the slope. The slope, again, rise over run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from this point, I'm going to rise 2, and then I'm going to run 1. And I'm always going to rise, but the run is either going to go to the left or to the right. Because this is positive, you can probably imagine we're going to run to the right. So I'm going to go from this point up 2, rise 2, and run 1. That would be about 1 right there. There's another point on our line. I could join those and create my line right now if I wanted to. If I want more than 1 point, I can go up 2 again. So up to 7 and run 1 to the right. Now I've got 3 points. And if I want to, I'll just join those 3 guys together. And that is the equation, or sorry, that's the line represented by, I'll make sure this fits in here, y equals 2x plus 3. So there's the equation of the line using slope and y-intercept. Now what are we going to do with this guy? We've got a second example. I'll write it down here. 2y plus 3 equals 10. I have to pull the slope and the y-intercept out of that in order to draw my line, but right now it's not in that format, so I need to reorganize it to make it fit into that format, which means y needs to be by itself on the left-hand side. So I'm missing an x here somewhere, and it's not on my example. Let me just check over here for a second. Oh, don't you love when that happens? There should actually be an x there. Sorry, guys. So my x is right in there. So I'm going to isolate 2y. So I'm going to get it on the left by itself. I'm going to bring this 3x to the other side. And we know that when you bring something from one side of the equation to the other, sign flips. So instead of positive, it's now negative. There's the x I forgot a second ago, plus 10. But it's not in y equals mx plus b format yet, because the y can only have a 1 sitting up front. This has a 2. We need to get rid of that 2. So let's divide that 2 out. And our new equation is y equals -3 divided by 2. Because that's not a perfect answer, that's going to be a decimal. If I do it, I'm actually just going to leave it like that. -3 over 2 x plus, now 10 divided by 2 is 5, so that I can deal with. So I'm going to graph that line. And a lot of the times in math, I know we don't love fractions, but in this case, it is slope. Slope is rise over run, so it's okay if we have a fraction. So let's take a look at this. Our 5 is our y-intercept, just like 3 was over here. So that's our starting point. I'm going to go over to my graph. I'm going to grab a different color here. And I'm going to find the y-intercept of 5. So on my y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's write that here just in case. Y-intercept equals 5. And I've plotted that. And now in this case, my slope is -3 over 2, which means, again, I'm going to rise 3 and I'm going to run 2. Slope, rise over run. Going up 3, going 2, I'm going to run 2. But because this one's negative, instead of running to the right like I did last time, I'm going to run to the left. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to run 2 to the left. 1, 2. I could join those lines, or those points to make a line, but let's just do one more. So let's rise 3 more. Run 2 to the left. There we go. Now we've got 3. That's a little bit easier for us. If I join those guys together, I know it's not perfect because I'm not on graph paper, but I now have the line, and I could write it either way. I could call this line 2y plus 3x equals 10. Sorry about the squishiness. Or I could call this line what we changed it to. Y equals -3 over 2x plus 5. Both of those represent that pink line. So hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer on how to graph the equation of a line using slope and y-intercept.